An APS crew is scheduled to come home tomorrow after a long tour of duty trying to restore power in Puerto Rico. 6 months after Hurricane Maria, people living in remote and rural areas are still struggling without electricity. Cronkite News contributing reporter Amanda Mason shines a light on the volunteers from APS.
This is the second team of 30 linemen who traveled 3,000 miles from Arizona to help rebuild and restore power in Puerto Rico. Working 12 days in a row with 1 day off, these men spread out across the mountains of Bayamon. Arizona Public Service, known as APS, is the largest electric company in the state of Arizona. But to the Puerto Ricans they serve, their safety vests have turned into a symbol of hope.
We're known to all the people in the community as the yellow shirts, and they can't wait for the yellow shirts to come into their neighborhood because we give them hope. The lights are going to come back on.
Les RAINEY has been working for APS for 35 years and has been in Puerto Rico for a month and a half. He says it's not an easy task working with the terrain and lack of materials.
The first month here, we were literally any piece of equipment that was on the ground that was salvageable, we were picking it all up and we were reusing it. We had to be really creative to try and get the power restored, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be turning the lights on.
When APS arrived, they only had 20% of the materials they needed. Now they have 60%.
We're used to like having a warehouse and getting our material here. We just make do with what we have.
All of the work that we've done has been up in the mountainous terrain. So it's very slick out here. It rains pretty much every day. So we find some new hazards almost every day with the moss and everything that covers the asphalt or the concrete.
The island, it's complete devastation. And the system that we're working on is really kind of an antique system, so we're kind of having to piece things together to make things work, and really just doing whatever we can to get lights to the people.
It's a mountainous rural area that each of the houses are hard to get to. From one neighbor to the next could be half a mile, and we could literally set 10 poles just to get one more customer. Whereas back home, if we did something like that, we would be heating up a whole lot more. So that's why our numbers from what we're used to is much lower than what we have in Arizona, but here it's a lot.
APS is in a constant battle between the terrain and the weather. As you can see, I'm stuck in the mud. This is an actual road that they built just so they could reach one house and give them electricity. It took them a week to build, and one of the issues they had was getting the APS trucks through the road and through the mud.
That's great. It's good. Yeah.
Jorge Luis was without power for 5 months and 5 days until APS arrived.
Cariño con todo el mundo. Muy bueno, muy bueno, muy bueno. Amable, muy amable.
Our travels to Puerto Rico, so rewarding is the reaction we have seen from the locals here and how happy they were. They were even happy before we turned the lights on just to see us doing work in their neighborhood. They saw us as a glimmer of hope.
Thank you. Hey. Muchas gracias.
Very welcome, sir. Gracias. Thank you. And then when the power actually came on, that's when we saw the tears and the screams of absolute joy.
Puerto Rican hemos sufrido mucho, no te vayas a creer, hemos sufrido mucho porque yo tengo una hermana postrada en cama.
It's moments like these RAINEY will treasure forever. After a long day, the linemen return to their guarded parking lot. The 30,000-pound trucks line up to get refueled for the next day, so they can help the community they adopted.
We know that he said he has a hard time deciding whether each day to buy gas for his generator or food for his refrigerator. He's using the generator to run. So we have that place marked on our map, and we are going to get the power to that gentleman before we go home.
Reporting in Puerto Rico, I'm Amanda Mason.